Now, welcome to another edition of Battle of the Heroes and Villains, where this time we'll be taking a look at the results of the poll for 99, comparing those results to all the other characters we've done thus far, before I then read and respond to some of your comments. But before all that, as usual, you're free to already head down to the comments to nominate and or vote for which character we will do next. Just respond to my pinned comment down there with a character name or vote with a thumbs up if the one you'd like to see is already listed. Whatever single comment gets the most votes in the next 24 hours or so will be the winner and the character we do next. Alright, and now on to the results for 99, where we'll see that 66% of people gave him an A, 21% then said B, 9% thought he was C tier material, which left 2% to give him a D, and a final 2% to give him an F. And so when we do all the math and consider A a score of 5 and F a score of 1, 99 ends up with an average score of 4.47, which puts him into 14th place overall, and 100th of a point ahead of Emperor Palpatine. And before we get to the comments and discuss those results, let me just take a quick moment to once again say thank you to everyone who votes, comments, and watches the videos. It is all greatly appreciated. Also, a big thank you to everyone who supports me and what I do over on Patreon. I don't mention them or it all too often, but those who do support me there get access to my Discord server, where we're always talking some Star Wars, and where every Wednesday night I host a voice chat where we usually talk some Star Wars. And if you're interested in any of that, a link to my Patreon page is in the description below. But for now, let's kick this off as we always do with the top-rated comment, which this time came to us from John Mark Stillwell, who said, "Heavy, stop calling me that, we're just numbers, 99, just numbers. Not to me, you've always had a name. That line alone makes him an easy A." And there were a lot of people in the comments this week quoting 99, quoting many of his best lines, even though when you really stop and think about it, he doesn't have that many lines in general in the show, and yet it seems like almost half of what he says in that short amount of time is memorable, is quotable, and is impactful, which takes us to this set of comments, starting with this one from Alexander Williams, who said, "It's crazy how much of an impact a good character can have in such a short time." Then there's this one from Bull Buffett, who said, "Even though he was only in 2 episodes, he made a huge impact, not only on the characters, but the audience too, showing that he wasn't just a reject, he was a soldier, a hero, a friend, A+. We also had this one from Caitlin and Wes Ballard, who said, "In A, he was a minor character, but they made him so well he was more developed than some main characters." Then there's this comment from Trey Goins, who said, "For what he was, an A, but his character really didn't do all that much outside his respective arcs. One of the best, smaller characters in Star Wars, though." Then there's what Nate Peterson said in his comment, "Low screen time, much love from the fan base. That's how you know he was a great character. He added to the clone trooper lore, he provided emotional moments, he sparked character growth, he did everything right in all of his appearances, easy A." Next then, this one from Sean Mullen, who said, "Possibly the best emotional impact to screen time ratio ever seen in Star Wars." Also, we had this one from Shadow of Hawk 55, who said, "He was only there for 2 episodes, but his narrative importance was immense, and his sacrifice still brings me to near tears, even now as an adult and having seen it countless times." Then there were also some comments like this one from Mr. Narwhal, who said, "I love 99, but I also don't want to cloud my rating with nostalgia. From an objective standpoint, he doesn't have much of an arc and is purely a supporting character. I really like him, but there simply isn't enough of his character to give him an A. For me, he is a B-." Then also this one from Myth Sith, who said, "He made the clones feel so human. He gave so much more depth to the Domino Squad and the attack on Kamino. I don't think there is a flaw in his character, but he didn't have really any impact on the story other than talking some sense to the clones, so I can't give him an A." Okay, so though it wasn't exactly directly debated or anything in the comments, there was this sort of question that emerged from this poll, which is, what exactly qualifies you to be a great character? Or maybe I should say, or ask, what's the criteria you need to first meet to be considered a great character? Does their arc need to have a certain level of depth and complexity, a certain amount of time required for the audience to get to know them and fully understand them as a character? Or is it maybe much, much simpler than that? Is it just the impact they have on the story and hence on the audience that can make them a great character? Or are you more along the lines of just a well-used plot device at that point, which some did suggest of 99? Because in reality, no, we don't know that much about him. We essentially know the basics, that he's a defective clone, that he has a heart of gold and cares a great deal about his brothers, and that in the end he dies very bravely. But that alone was enough to elicit an emotional response from many, if not most, who saw his story, however brief it may have been. And you can argue the point of pretty much any story is to invoke some type of reaction from you in some capacity, for it to make you think or feel or both. We usually read or watch stories because we want to be taken away from our own life and have a human experience through someone else, even if they're completely fictional. And as long as that happens, doesn't matter how long it takes or how complex the character is. In fact, you could probably even argue that getting a person to immediately care about a character and to have a powerful reaction after only a short amount of time is even more impressive than achieving this after a long, intricate story. And sometimes that's never achieved at all with a character, no matter how hard the writers or creator of that character may try, or how much time they spend on them. They just fall flat with the audience. And other times it takes only 2 episodes that they're not even really featured in for them to become unforgettable characters. Alright, and moving on now, we have this comment from Edward Feldman who said, "I really love his character and his sacrifice. That being said, I wouldn't put him in the same tier as Darth Vader. I think it is important to distinguish between characters we like, who only appear in a few episodes, and one of the best villains of all time." Then we also have this one from Jim Fowler who said, "Oh my gosh, with this rating he's going to be top 10 with Anakin and Rex and Ahsoka. He's a good character, but he's even less deserving of an A than the Mando. Solid B or C. We know nothing about him and only got a few wise words from him. Master Oogway told Kung Fu Panda, I've never seen it, sorry, a few wise words, but no one considers him a star of that series. I think this is a good example of the limitations of the current polling system. C+ for me." We also had this one from Paul Barton who said, "I just don't understand how you can give him an A. You're putting him on par with the best Star Wars characters, which just isn't possible." Okay, so if someone flat out asked me which is the better Star Wars character, 99 or Emperor Palpatine, who again 99 finished 1/100th of a point ahead of, I don't think I'd hesitate too much at all before saying Palpatine is the better character, and I'm guessing most Star Wars fans would agree. And I assume we'd get a similar reaction if I asked if 99 or Luke Skywalker is a better character. And 99 only finished 7/100ths of a point behind Luke, let me point out. And I'm not saying any of this to take away from 99 or argue against what I said just a minute ago about what can make for a great character. That impact on a story and or on the audience could and maybe should be a main sort of determining factor. But probably not the only one if you're trying to formulate a list of the top characters. Because again, no, looking at this as objectively as possible, 99 should not be ahead of Emperor Palpatine. In other words, there are flaws in the ranking system that seem to be exposed more and more each week at this point, as we get further away from our main characters and more into side characters. It also doesn't help that I just ask you to rank them, that I give no sort of criteria by which to do so, which I originally thought was a good idea because I wanted everyone to be sort of free to judge them as they saw fit. And though arguably flawed, a part of me does like doing this way, I do think it's fun and interesting to rank them off more gut feeling or gut reaction, you could say, instead of any sort of objective list of criteria or questions, that this is sort of a blend between how much people like certain characters and how good they think they are. Because if I asked someone if you like 99 or Palpatine better, well then I'm sure there's a good number of people who would say they like 99 over Palpatine. Anyway, before I keep babbling on about this, I think perhaps after we get our initial top 50 done, which we're only 5 away from, I'll try to do things a little differently going forward. I'll keep doing the polls on YouTube as usual, where people can kind of vote more based on their gut feelings or whatever they want, whatever criteria they want to use, and then they can of course comment afterwards. But I'll also set up a different sort of poll elsewhere, or maybe a series of questions for people who want to really break down the character on a more objective level, and that a character's final score will be a combination of the two, a combination of subjective and objective, really. And if you have any ideas for what those questions should maybe be, and I think At most, a half dozen would be good, or what sort of criteria we can judge them on, where we can give a numerical score of 1 to 10 in response, well then drop them in the comments below. But for now, and I'm sorry to 99, I feel like I've monopolized his video with this other sort of talk, but I think of all characters, he has really brought this question to the forefront because he does have a very limited amount of time and he is rated very highly here, which again, subjectively is fine, but objectively, I think we can make the argument that this is a flawed system. But anyway, let's get to a few final comments before wrapping this up, starting with this one from Derek Lopez, who said, "I'm a soldier like you. This is what I was bred for." His last words before he was shot down was one of the saddest moments in the Clone Wars. Then there's this one from David Bonilla, who said, "He gets an A simply because, despite being defective and looked down upon, he was always incredibly sweet and thoughtful, and he sacrificed his life trying to save his brothers. We could all stand to be a bit more defective like him." Also, we had this comment from Austin Means, who said, 99 was the character that made me realize the clones are in fact different people with different personalities and different views on the war and life. We also had this one from A Gun, who said, "I know this is a hot take, but I thought he was fine, but I never found his story overly compelling and more annoying than anything." Then there's also this one from Drave Jr., who said, "He was a man who was considered useless, a mutant, yet in 2 episodes he became a fan favorite. He put his life on the line for his brothers and got a Spec Ops squad named after him. Easy A." Next up, this one from Kayla Wheezy, who said, "I have never cried as hard before in an episode of Clone Wars, much less a cartoon that wasn't Toy Story 4. 99 was so well written and showed that even those who may not seemingly be perfect are just as valuable and worthy as a normal individual. Loved 99 so much." Also, we have this one from Snappy Volcano, who said, "He reminds me of a younger brother who wants to be like his older brother, but physically cannot. However, his spirit is equal to his older brother, and the brother loves him for it. A+. Then there's this one from Cap319, who said, "He was asked of nothing and gave everything. That's an A from me." And finally, this one from The Fish Nerd, who said, "How many characters have such an impact and leave such an impression while only appearing in a couple of episodes?" The Domino Squad, some of our favorite clones, Echo, Fives, Heavy, Cut Up, would never have even graduated the Academy had it not been for the wisdom and compassion shown by this deformed clone. 99 is the one who teaches Heavy that the clones aren't numbers, but individuals, brothers. When we see Fives affirm that his name is Fives, that he isn't a number, this is a ripple of 99's impact. And of course, 99 served bravely and selflessly despite his physical limitations. Not only was he happy to do what he could in janitorial work with his disabilities, but as a clone, a soldier, he was willing to fight when the opportunity finally arrived and, in service to his brothers, ran without hesitation and made the ultimate sacrifice. The Bad Batch being dubbed Clone Force 99 is a tribute that is 100% fitting, top tier A+++. Well, that's all I've got for you this time. Now it's your turn to tell me what you think of 99 or what I or anyone else had to say about him here in this video. Or you can feel free to nominate and or vote for which character we do next. Or you can also give me some ideas for more objective criteria that we can judge characters on in the future. Whatever the case may be, leave a comment below and let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.